Hello friends, and welcome back to another episode of my lesson plans for elementary music for this week in September. If you're new around here, my name's Rainey Barton. I'm an elementary music teacher and middle school musical theater teacher in Central Florida, and my goal for this channel is to help other elementary and other music teachers in general instill a love and appreciation of music into each of their children's lives. And so we do that through lesson plan ideas, strategies, tips and tricks, things that I've learned and implemented over the 7 years that I've been in the music classroom, and we just use that to better our teaching together. So if you're here for that, make sure to like, subscribe, share, all of those things. But as I mentioned, every Wednesday I try my very best, I've been starting that as of last week, to share what I'm doing in my elementary music classroom, because I have several friends that do it and I love hearing from others, and I think it's really cool to learn what everyone else is doing, especially since music teachers don't have their own curriculum, and so that way we're able to pull from each other and see what lessons we might have forgotten about or new ideas that we might not have done before, and we're able to share that with each other. So I'm going to be sharing what I'm doing this week, and we're just gonna go from there. Before I get started, I'm just going to share briefly like what learning target every grade level is at currently. Kindergarten is starting to finish up their 4 voices unit, and we're also working on steady beat. First grade is doing the same thing as kindergarten, because since I'm at a new school, I'm just basically catching first grade up to where kindergarten is going to be. And then second grade is focusing on quarter rest. And then we have third grade focusing on mi, re, do, just because we're trying to get them, caught up to speed in their solfege syllables. And then fourth and fifth is focusing on meter and introduction to meter, but also on their rhythm, so that we can catch them up in that regard. And those are what everybody is focusing on. So a lot of my lessons are centered around those concepts primarily. Okay, so let's start with kindergarten. Every grade level first does this warm-up. I talk about this warm-up all the time. If you want to see my exact warm-up, go watch this video that basically says my warm-up lesson, and it'll show you exactly what I go through. And it includes vocal exercises, this breathing sphere, melodic patterns, rhythmic patterns, all of this stuff. So once we've done our warm-up, which takes about 2 minutes, with kinder and first, so I'm doing the same thing for both, I have this picture of this pitchfork. Now these are the John Feyerabend Pitch Exploration Pathways, or no, that's not the one. Well, it's Pitch Exploration Pathways, and then I have one other package, and they're just all different stories. And so this one is called The Airplane Ride. And so we talk about the picture, and basically I tell them a story, and they have to say, all right, if it's something like really good, and if it's oh no, they have to go oh no, and it's really cute. But it's basically just a story about a guy that goes in an airplane, but he doesn't have an engine, but he has a parachute, but the parachute won't open, but there was a haystack that he was going to land in, but then there was a pitchfork in the haystack, but then he missed the pitchfork, but then he missed the haystack, and he fell on the ground. And the kids think that's the funniest thing they've ever seen, and we have a good laugh about it, and so they're just practicing like saying, all right, oh no, and so it's a nice vocal exploration. And so I try to start with a story or something like, which this is all First Steps in Music, which I discussed that last week, so I will share that book again one more time down below. But like this week I did this, last week I did whale sounds with them with this whale puppet that I had, so that's all just like First Steps in Music type stuff. The next thing I got from Victoria Bowler in her planning binder, which I will link her membership down below because I love it a lot, and it's called Tutu Bovi. And it's not spelled like that though, it's G-B-O-V-I, Tutu Bovi. But basically it's a song from Ghana, and the point of it is, I believe Tutu Bovi basically means like don't cry little one. I'll write down below what it means if I'm wrong. But basically what you do is, the way she taught it is, you have this stuffed animal and you're singing with the stuff, telling a story with the stuffed animal about bad, like your day, and like bad stuff that happened to you in the day. So for example, hers was like, and I was walking down the street and all of a sudden I found an ice cream store and I bought an ice cream cone, and what do you think was my favorite flavor? And you ask them for help with the story. And I was eating my giant chocolate cone when the wind came by and knocked it on the floor. And then you sing the Tutu Bovi, Tutu Bovi. And you sing that in the story every time that something sad happens. And so eventually the kids catch on and they're singing with you, Tutu Bovi, Tutu Bovi. And so This is helping them just practice their singing voice in a really easy way, and it's just a fun little way for them to have like this cute little story. And then after you've told the story, we have them listen to the actual song in Africa and keep a nice beat with it, just so they can hear where it came from and hear another language, and we can talk more about like, you know, that song. And so that's a cute super one that I did the other day with my kinders in first grade, and they actually really loved it, and they thought the song was cute, and they thought the story was silly, especially because I told them, all right, the stuffed animal now, he's going to have a better day. He's going to go eat some carrots. And then the stuffed animal keeps singing it, and they're going, why is he sad about eating carrots? Because I used a rabbit. So it was really, really funny. Then we have just a typical movement activity, down to the baker's shop, which I'm playing on ukulele. And so the kids all just get to do different locomotor movement. That one just goes, down to the baker's shop, hop, hop, hop. For my mother said, buy a loaf of bread, down to the baker's shop, pop, pop, pop. And so I'll change it to like, down to the baker's shop, slither like a snake, or jump like a kangaroo, or swim, swim, swim. And so they're just getting to do different stuff. It's just important that you're getting kindergarten moving often. And so I try to do something that's kind of low, you know, in the energy sphere, and then high energy, and then low energy, and then high energy. And so just back and forth, bounce them around like a ball. Okay, then the next two things is to help review our 4 voices. So I do Queen Caroline, which Queen Caroline is just the chant, Queen, Queen Caroline. Washed her hair in turpentine, turpentine to make it shine, Queen, Queen Caroline. And so I cannot remember what conference I went to that they taught me that they used Queen Caroline for 4 voices. But they basically tell a story about Queen Caroline and how she washed her hair in turpentine. And I tell my kids that turpentine is basically like toothpaste. And they're like, why would you put toothpaste in your hair? It's a whole thing. But the way we use 4th voices is we say that the queen did this, and so when she came out of the shower, her sisters were whispering to each other going, Queen, Queen Caroline. And then eventually one of them had a big mouth, and they shouted it to the kingdom, Queen, Queen Caroline. And then one of them, all of the neighbors were talking to each other like this, Queen, Queen Caroline. And then at the end, everybody just decided to start singing, Queen, Queen Caroline. And so they're getting to practice all of them, and it's just a fun way of like introducing it through a story about a queen, which I have puppets for everything. So I use this wonderful puppet because she does have a crown. It's hard to see. My mom got me at like some at some flea market like last year. There was a box of puppets from like a music store, and she bought them all, and it had this queen in it. So win-win for me. But we do Queen Caroline. And we do Good King Leopold, which if you've never heard of that one, it goes like this. Good King Leopold, may we cross your kingdom? You must ask again, this time use your whisper voice. So Good King Leopold is like the kids are standing on one side of the room, and the king is sitting on his throne, and the kids sing the Good King Leopold, may we cross your kingdom. And then whoever the king is, which is good for solo practice, the king goes, you must ask again, this time use your, and they choose whisper, singing, talking, or shouting voice. And so they pick a voice. And then the kids keep going, and you pick a new king, and you keep on going until eventually the king says, yes, you may pass. And then I tell them a locomotor movement, and I play this drum beat for them. And so they're just moving around the room to whatever movement I told them, whether I told them to jump, hop, skip, leap, wiggle, all of those things. And then we just switch out the king, and we keep on rotating. So it's good for that person because they're having to do a solo singing going, you must ask again, this time use your whatever voice. And then the kids are getting to practice because if it says use their shouting voice, they're using their shouting voice. If they say speaking voice, they're using their speaking voice. And so that's a really good assessment of that as well. And then the last few things I'm doing, now if it sounds like a lot, it's because I see kindergarten 2 times a week. And so this is gonna fill up those 2 times. So the next thing we do is Listen, Listen, which I play on a tambourine, but it just goes, listen, listen, here I come, someone special gets the drum. So I have the kids practice with that with me first. They each have an egg shaker doing that with me, and then we practice doing it really slow, and then in the middle, and then really fast, keeping the beat, because then I have the kids come up one at a time to my tempo blocks and have a turn. They get to decide what speed we're gonna do it. And so 1, I get to see if they can do a steady beat, and 2, the kids get to practice doing it at different speeds. And so some of the kids do a really great job deciding which one they want to do, and they're able to keep a nice beat, and we're able to sing the song with them. Some of them, it's kind of sporadic, and so I know that they don't really understand steady beat. And so that's a really great assessment of that, super quick. And for Hispanic Heritage Month, we're doing Los Pollitos, which just means the little chicks. And so it's just, it has 3 verses, but I know the first verse off my head. It goes like this. Los pollitos dicen pío, 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 cuando tienen hambre, cuando tienen frío. And so I made a folk dance to go with it, but I read the book to them first, and then I show them a video of the song like actually being played out, and then we do the folk dance game, which uses maracas. And I'm not going to teach you the folk dance in this video because I have a video that I specifically teach that in for Hispanic Heritage music lessons. So I will link that video up here. And if you want to go watch that, you can. But it's a cute little folk dance, and the kids are moving, grooving, and learning a song in Spanish, because I do teach them the first verse. I don't teach them the second and third verses. I just do that myself. But it's a super cute one that you can pull out easily for Hispanic Heritage Month. And then we end with bounce high, bounce low. I have a tennis ball. I'm the only one with a tennis ball. We're just practicing. They are bouncing, or they're patting when it hits the floor, and clapping when I catch it, so that they're practicing. So that they're back and forth practicing that, and then they're just singing, bounce high, bounce low, bounce the ball to Shiloh. And then we practice and say, what other things could you do when the ball hits the ground? Maybe you could stomp and snap, or maybe you could jump and turn. And so whatever motion needs to be bigger though on the one, because we're about to introduce strong and weak beats in it. So that's what we use this for. And then I finish with Had a Little Rooster, which is just a John Feierabend song tale. I don't have the book. I sing it to them on the ukulele a couple of times first, but it's just an add-on song. Like Had a Little Rooster, Had a Little Cow, Had a Little Dog, Had a Little Cat, and it keeps on going and going and going. And so that is how I finish, because song tales calm them down before they go off to their next class. And so that's my kinder and first grade lessons. Second grade, we are still doing a lot of what we were doing last week, because Miss Barton way underestimated how much time everything was going to take, and also had an epic fail with some of the stuff. So because my kids knew what quarter notes and eighth notes were, I assumed that meant they knew how to read rhythms as well. And so when I introduced using Duck Rabbit, the book Duck Rabbit, Ta and Titi, it was a very big fail. Did not work. So I had to change my gears around. So I changed it around, and here's what we did. This week, what we do is, the first thing when they come in is we immediately start with our warm-up, and then we do Bow Wow Wow, which the song, if you don't know it, it just goes Bow Wow Wow, whose dog art thou? Little Tommy Tucker's dog, Bow Wow Wow. Now, there's a really great video on YouTube by Rob Amchin where he teaches his process on how to do this, which I love Rob Amchin. If you don't know him, you should go find his YouTube channel. He's fabulous. He also was my level 1 recorder instructor for ORF levels. Such a hilarious dude. Such a hilarious guy. Okay. Anyway, so basically he teaches it by, you have your partner, and they're all in a circle, and they're facing their partner, and they jump on the bow, wow, wow, and then they wag their finger, whose dog art thou? And then they trade places on little Tommy Tucker's dog, and then they jump one more time, bow, wow, wow, and they turn on the end of it, and then they have a new partner, and they're just going through the circle and going through the circle all the way until they make it back to their partner. And so they will have partnered with half of the class by the end of the song. My kids loved it. It was fabulous. I did it to help prep them with quarter rest, just like we did Naughty Kitty Cat the week before, so we are prepping quarter rest. Then after that, I introduced Ta and Titi using Note Neighborhood, which is from David Rao at Make Moments Matter, so I will definitely link that down below. I love David Rao. He's pretty fabulous. He has a free quarter and eighth note neighborhood, and so it just teaches them by saying, I'm Ta and I'm the TT twins, and we live in this town, and we have this house, and it has them practice rhythms really slowly, and explains how you read Ta, how you read TT, and then it has rhythm patterns for them to practice at the end. They did much better reading that way than when I introduced it with Duck Rabbit. So I highly recommend using Note Neighborhood. They understood it, and they were able to read patterns way better than Duck Rabbit. Now, am I saying Duck Rabbit doesn't work? No, I've had Duck Rabbit work. It doesn't work if you assume that they understand reading or how to read patterns. They don't, and this PowerPoint broke it down a little bit easier. And so I should have figured out they didn't actually know how to read rhythms. I just assumed if they knew quarter and eighth note, they knew how to read rhythms, but that was not the case. After we finished with Note Neighborhood, we reviewed Ta and Titi by playing that game Asteroid that my friend Becca's music room made, which I talked about last week, which is basically the one where Ta, they get to take a step, and TT, they get to take 2 steps, and they're moving all around the room like ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, 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 ta. And on the word asteroid, they have to run back to their spot, and if they're the last one there, they've been wiped out by the asteroid, and they turn into a meteor, and they just sit on their dot. And so the kids absolutely loved that, and that was a really fun and easy way for us to review Ta and TT. And then after that, since I also see them twice a week, we are going to start our Vamos a la Mar unit, which I talked about that a lot in the last video as well, if you want to go back to that. But the song just goes, Vamos a la mar, tum tum, a comer pescado, tum tum, boca colorada, tum tum, friti y asado, tum tum. And so that's just about eating fish, grilling fish, all of that sort of thing. And so there's instrument activities that we do with it, and we add instruments, all these different things. I have an entire lesson for it. I have one for low sol and one for quarter rest because we're using it for quarter rest. And so I will link both of those down below. I'll also link below my Hispanic Heritage Lessons bundle if you want that instead. But yeah, we use it for quarter rest, and I have an interactive rhythm activity that I'm going to use to actually introduce quarter rest with this one after this. So they're reviewing rhythms for it. But Vamos a la Mar is a great one for Hispanic Heritage Month. Also with Hispanic Heritage Month, we'll add the La Tortuga book, the next class, and we'll do La Raspa with it, which is the Mexican hat dance. That just goes, you know, the one with the heels that goes da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da, that one. And then you just elbow circle for the other part. We do La Raspa, and I pair that with La Tortuga, which I'm not going to talk about here. I have an entire video dedicated to La Tortuga, so go check it out. It's about a turtle that she has this magic flute, and the kids want to eat her and turn her into turtle soup, but her magic flute like saves her from being eaten, and it's this cute little Mexican folk tale, which is why we use that. I teach them the song La Tortuga, and then we add La Raspa to it just as like a fun little thing, or Los Machetes, either one of those folk dances. So go check it out in the video. It's super, super fun. And so that's it for 2nd grade. And so for 3rd through 5th grade, I only see them once a week. So it's not going to be quite as much stuff. And I see them for 40 minutes instead of 30. So with 3rd, we're starting to work on ostinato because none of the grade levels actually know ostinato. So we're trying to nip that in the bud. And so the way that I like to introduce ostinato is I put the board on the board and I say, does anybody know what this word means? And of course they're all like, no, I have no idea what that means. And then I show 2 videos. I found one video on YouTube like last year, and I just love it. It's like this weird little 2-minute video this guy made that's basically just like, an ostinato is a pattern that repeats. What? An ostinato is a pattern that repeats. What? And then he keeps doing that. And then it has like a rap where he talks about ostinato. And then he says, an ostinato is a pattern that repeats. What? You have to watch the video. It's really, really cute. But by the end of it, they know what an ostinato is. And so we talk about what an ostinato is. I show them the different types, like we do a body percussion one, we do a chant one, we sing one, we do an instrument one, just so they're getting the feels of like what ostinatos could look like. And then I show them one other video, and I don't remember where I found this, but it's the Muppets doing Habanero, the song that goes da 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 da. Well, it's the Muppets doing it. And so there's 3 people doing it. There's the little Meat character, and then there's this, I believe, the Swedish chef, and then there's Animal. And so the Swedish chef is doing an ostinato the entire time, just going bor 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 the entire time. And so I have the kids watch the video, and of course they're cracking up because it's hilarious. And I have them say which one is doing the ostinato. Can you figure it out? And they always do figure it out, and then they want to watch it one more time because they just think it's hilarious. And so I let them because it's like a minute and a half. But I will link both videos down below because they're quite funny. But that's how we introduce ostinato. And then from there, I move on and I use the song Ding Dong Diggy Diggy Dong to really work on ostinato. And I pair that with the book Bad Kitty, which I got that lesson idea from my friend, I can't remember her name right now, Miss Holmes' music class, Mariah. There it is. So I will tag her down below with that link. But basically, she teaches the song Ding Dong Diggy Diggy Dong first, which just goes ding dong diggy diggy dong, the cat she's gone. Ding dong diggy diggy ding ding dong. And so the kids think that's a hilarious song. We teach the song first, and then my friend Beth's music room made a PowerPoint presentation that I use, and she has 5 ostinatos for unpitched percussion and pitched percussion. And so this week, we did the unpitched percussion. And so I teach all the ostinatos first, like just like us saying them. Like I'll make words for it. Like one goes rest, 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 ding dong, rest, 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 ding dong. And then there's one that goes like ding dong, digga digga dong, ding dong, digga digga dong. And so there's different ones. And I teach them it all. And then we'll take probably like 3 of them, our favorites, and I'll split the class into 3 and I'll have them practice doing it at the same time. And if they're able to do it all at the same time while I sing the song first, then we switch roles and all that, and we switch parts, and I have some of them sing it and some of them do the ostinatos. And then once I feel that they're comfortable in that, we'll actually add the instruments and we'll add the story. I like to use the barred instruments when we get to the story. However, my barred instruments are like actual glockenspiels, and so I haven't really used them a lot yet, but I might change it. But either way, you could use the unpitched percussion or the pitched percussion, and you add the story bad kitty because it'll say like, oh, she was a bad kitty cat, which I used that book last week for naughty kitty cat, but you can also use it for this because it says the cat, she's gone, and so you pair it with bad kitty, and then every time it says she was a bad kitty, you could go ding dong, digga digga dong, and have some of them sing it and some of them do the ostinato. So we're really heavily focusing on ostinato. And basically that's all we're going to get to this week because that alone is going to take the 40 minutes, but that's what we're doing in 3rd grade. It's a really fun way to introduce ostinato, so definitely try it out with your kids. And then we also do Asteroid. I forgot because the kids are obsessed with Asteroid and are still asking for it, and so I just let them. It's a really great, easy way to review. It's not that big a deal. And then we go with 4th and 5th because remember I said they're sticking to the same thing. So I started out 4th grade with Asteroid as well, and 5th grade. Honestly, I'm just doing Asteroid this week with all of my classes except for kinder and first because they absolutely love it, and it's a really fun way to assess rhythm. So we started out with Asteroid, which I already explained, so I'm not going to explain it again, but we did that. And then after that, I started reviewing meter with them. And so we reviewed meter from last week, which we're using my friend Jess's Music and Motivates lesson. We started with meter tag, which we already talked about, is where they can only move on beat 1 around the room, and on beats 2, 3, and 4, if they're in a meter of 4, they have to stay still. Or if they're in a meter of 3, it's just beats 2 and 3. If they're in a meter of 2, it's just beat 1, 2. And so they're moving around the room, and the taggers can only move on beat 1 as well. And so we practiced where we had 2 taggers, and then she said in extension activities where you make everybody a tagger and everybody's on their own. That was hilarious. The kids were having so much fun with that. So we did meter tag review, and then we moved on to meter lesson 2, which has this PowerPoint, and it just teaches you how can you identify meter in its own songs. And then you use tennis balls. You're supposed to have each student have a tennis ball. However, we don't have enough at my school, and so then one of my students was like, why don't we just do it in pairs? And I actually think it works better in pairs, so I'm kind of glad we didn't have enough tennis balls. They're with their partner, and I teach them how to do each pattern. So for example, they practice in 2, it would just be bounce, catch, bounce, catch, which if they have a partner, they're bouncing into their partner and their partner's catching it, and then they're bouncing back and forth. So once I see that they have bounce, catch, I put on a song from her Spotify playlist, which I'll have to check out her video. She made a video specifically on her whole meter lessons, so I'll link her over there. But I put on one of her songs, and then we do it, and they practice with their partner. Then for 3, it's just bounce, catch, pass, bounce, catch, pass, and they're doing that with their partner, so they bounce it to their partner, and their partner passes and catches, or catches and passes. And we do the same thing. I put on a song in 3, and they practice, and then we do it for 4, which is just bounce, catch, pass, pass, bounce, catch, pass, pass. Same thing, they practice with their partner. And then after that, after they've practiced with all 3, then we do the meter challenge where I pick a song from one of the playlists and I don't tell them which one. And it's up to them and their partner to figure out what meter it's in. And surprisingly, my kids were like super on top of this. I was expecting this to be really hard because I thought this would be hard, and they could figure it out easily. Now, I think it also helped that we basically taught that like a meter of 2 is like marching basically, and a meter of 3 is more like swaying and dancing like, and then 4 is just like anything that's basically on the radio. I think that helped. But they just were rocking it. They were like, this is in 3, this is in 2, this is in 4. And they were just really rocking it. Quite honestly, I was surprised. And then my last thing that I like to do, that I've always done, this is not in her lesson, it's called I Bought a Hat Hat. And the song gets faster and faster as we go. And so it's in 4. And so I just have them practice in 4. So they're just doing bounce, catch, pass, pass. And as the song gets faster, they have to go and go and go. And if they drop the ball, it rolls away from them, they mess up, they are out, and we see who can make it to the end, keeping the beat, the meter in 4, and going with the speed. And so that is just something I've done every year. And my kids have absolutely loved it, and so we add that on for this year, and they just think it's the best because they all want to win, and they're practicing being in a meter of 4. So the tennis ball thing was a really great hit. I definitely recommend doing that in your classroom. And then, like I said, that's all that we're going to get to in 4th and 5th this week because that's going to take a while, but this was a hit. So go check out her meter unit and go do it. And that's all we're doing in my elementary music classroom this week. I hope you got some good ideas of what you can do in your classroom so that, you are able to, figure out what you're doing with your life if you don't know. If this video was helpful, definitely let comments down below of what lessons you're going to be using from this video, or if there's any questions you specifically have about a grade level that you would like more info on, if you want me to dive deeper with one than the other, definitely let me know. But subscribe, share, all of the things. Because I only have a couple more minutes until I actually am on contract hour, because I always film this before I'm on contract. I'm going to go cut out some of these rhythm patterns for a thing that I'm going to do for next week with my kids, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.